Recently, myself and Connor have taken on some new adventures and we've been heading out for some long distance rides and even entered some events.
So in this video, we thought we'd share with you a few tips on what we've learned to get through those long distance rides in the best shape possible. Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Now this first one, I can guarantee you, most cyclists have had at some point in their cycling life. You're out on your own, riding a long way, and then you get this feeling, why am I even doing this? And it could be because the weather's bad, you could be feeling a little bit rubbish, it could be a load of different things, but these feelings are very normal. And when you get them, you kind of just get this feeling that you want to stop, pull over, and go home. But a trick I like to do is, before you even go out the door, tell yourself why you're doing it. It's to get stronger for an event, etc., etc. Then when you get to feeling rubbish, you'll instantly remember why you're doing it in the first place. And then you'll go back to feeling happy and pedaling along with a smile on your face.
Now, we've got a good few videos on fueling up on the channel if you haven't seen them already, but I think fueling just is so important to long distance riding that we need to talk about it now. I think my 4 top tips for fueling well on the bike means that you need to start eating before your ride, the night before, the morning of, get those carbs in, fuel up properly. Also, start eating early on the ride. Don't wait until you're hungry to start getting those bars, gels, bananas, any sort of homemade food into your stomach. You need to get those carbs to the muscles before you start to run out. Also, you need to get a good amount in as well. So anything from 100 grams or upwards even of carbs per hour will do you well if you're looking to ride longer distances. Also, don't neglect the hydration. Keep on top of those fluids and keep on drinking, folks. And it can be easy to say this now, and you think it's going to be fine when you get on your ride, but you get caught up in the moment, you get distracted, you're having too much fun, and suddenly you just realise you've forgotten to eat and drink for a few hours. So, cheeky little tip and something I've started doing, setting an alert on my head unit every half an hour or so, gives me a little ping, and I'm like, there we go. Bar, bit of water, gel, and off we go.
Right, next up, bike position, and you definitely want to pay attention to this one because a properly fitting bike is going to help you avoid pain on your bike and also injury. If you are struggling with your bike setup or you're having discomfort, then we have so many videos over on the GCN channel explaining little tips that you can do to make yourself more comfortable on the bike. But especially when you're riding long distances, you want to be comfortable on your bike because discomfort can be one of the things that can make you stop riding and give up. Another thing you might want to pay attention to is your handlebars and maybe raising them a little bit if you are riding longer distances, because let's be honest, we don't need to be super aero and in a really aggressive position. And by raising them a little bit, it's going to make you a lot more comfortable and it's going to take a little bit of that pressure off your hands and your arms. Because when you're riding for hours and hours, think of all the bumps and vibrations that are going through your arms, and it can get a little bit fatiguing. But also, you need to check in with yourself to make sure your hands and your arms are relaxed on your bike, because if you're spent hours tensing up and holding and gripping the bars really tight, you're going to get very fatigued. So just a little checkup, making sure you're nice and relaxed on your bike is going to help with your position too.
Okay, I think one of my big tips when it comes to long distance riding is to fix mechanicals as soon as they happen. Mechanicals, they are a part of cycling, punctures, anything else that can slightly go wrong with your bike that's going to derail your ride. And the reason for fixing them straight away is because if you try and kind of just put a band-aid over them and ride through, or maybe just get by in a state where you can still carry on with your ride, it works, but it's not the best idea because it's going to impact you later down the line when you're a bit more tired and you quite haven't got the energy to sort it out as much. Or it might be that it slows your ride down, you keep pushing on, and then you finally have to stop, sort out the problem, and then you lose a whole more chunk of time from your enjoyable ride as a result. So yeah, definitely fix those mechanicals. When they happen, get on and enjoy the rest of your ride.
Oh boy, have me and Connor experienced this next one too many times. Right, let's be honest, at the start of any ride, we're excited, we're motivated, we're full of energy, we've got all the beams. And we tend to go off a little bit fast, don't we? You just can't help it. The adrenaline, especially when you're in an event, you just kind of get a little bit carried away. But soon that comes to bite you. Especially if you're riding for 9-10 hours at a time. That pace you go off in the first hour, just tell yourself, am I going to be able to hold this pace in the last hour? Probably not. But it's a lot better to take it a little bit easier in that first hour and kind of pace your efforts a little bit more, and then you won't feel so knackered at the end at hour 9 and 10. You'll probably still feel pretty knackered because it's a long time to ride a bike. Right, this next one is not to be overlooked. Riding long distances is hard, and it's also hard mentally. And if the kind of mental side is something that you have been struggling with, then why not try riding in a group? For example, myself and Connor both had some long distance rides to do in our training, so we teamed up and did them together, and it was good fun to have someone to ride with.
Yeah, definitely. And it can make the world of difference if you have someone to chat to, or even just a wheel to follow at times. When the going gets a little rough and you want to take a bit of recovery. Plus, it can really help when you're riding with someone who's that bit more stronger than you, because it helps to bring on your own riding and you improve as a result. Plus, it is just a bit more enjoyable to share that cracking ride in the sun with a mate.
Should we have some banter on the way?
Banter! Oh, banter!
Oh, here we go again. Wave!
Last one, and I think most importantly, is to understand that you will have bad days sometimes, and you won't always be able to ride at the same level that you're used to. You get sicknesses, injuries, and sometimes your body can mysteriously just not feel like it on any given day. And also, if you are planning a super long ride, it can feel a bit stressful in the build up to it, preparing and all that sort of stuff. Sometimes I think you just need to get on your bike and ride, and those worries start to disappear.
Yeah, I definitely agree, but sometimes it can seem like, well, especially on social media, you see everybody doing these really epic things and it's always really good and rainbows and unicorns, but in reality, the going gets tough. Sometimes you don't feel great. And we have a lot of bad days.
Yeah.
What's your worst day on the bike been, Connor?
Worst day on the bike? For me, well, even despite the fact that I loved it so much, I still think back to the Donegal 555 as being my hardest ever moment, just because it was brutal. I was cold, tired, sleep deprived, and just really struggling by the end. So it was a lot of fun, but also very painful too.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Definitely the ride I did in Denmark recently. That's probably the hardest day I've ever had on the bike. Weather felt rubbish. Yeah, and all my years of racing, that tops it.
Yeah.
I think I'll stick to the velodrome where it's nice and dry next time.
Good shout, but you always drop me on the velodrome.
So those were some of our tips that we've learned to help us ride long distances. But let us know in the comment section below if you have any of your own, because I'm sure we missed a few, didn't we, Connor?
Yeah, I'm sure we did. And let us know where you're riding to, what sort of long distance routes you're taking on. We always love to hear some inspiration and, you know, find a good flavour of what you guys are up to wherever you are in the world. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. We'll see you on the next one.